Hello YouTubers, and welcome to my channel. Thanks for being here today. I value your time, and I know there are a lot of readers out there that you can watch, so thank you for tuning in here at Scorpio 1111. My name is Darlene, and I'm doing a reading for you as the title suggested, on a deceased loved one. I want to get my little business out of the way here while I'm shuffling and pulling cards, so I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button, make a comment, that's awesome, or if you like, this kind of content, please subscribe. I'm just getting started here on YouTube, and that helps my channel. However, it also tells YouTube, thank you goodness, the cards are flying this morning, that this content may be interesting, and they push it out to a broader audience. And that's important because these messages are so narrow, it helps get the messages to the families that they are meant for. So, okay, all that out of the way. Wow, let me see. Yes, I have someone coming through already, but let me keep shuffling a little bit to see what comes with the cards. So the young woman I have coming through, a young woman, she's, can't really say that she was a young woman. She's still a child, really, but on the borderline, I would say. She's showing me, and I'm going to stop shuffling just a second while I focus on this energy that's incoming. The image she gave me initially was of a young woman. She's got a rather square face, sweet, beautiful smile, and no hair. So the word that flashed immediately was leukemia. Now, and she's showing me that she had on a hospital gown. So whatever she had was obviously in a hospital setting, is the way she crossed, is what I'm hearing. But bear in mind that they don't often give me messages about how they died unless it's pertinent to the storyline. Most of the time, spirits just want us to focus on how they lived, not how they passed. But that's a part of this story, and I will explain more about that. So let me continue shuffling here. Now, I'm also getting timelines of 8 years, 11 years, and 13 years of age. So something happened along these timelines. I get the sense that perhaps whatever illness she was battling, it could have been leukemia. I'm also feeling, I've got this real headache, actually. My head's throbbing right now, which, and I don't, it's rare that I get a headache, so it's not my energy. But I feel like maybe she also developed something in her brain. Perhaps she had a brain tumor, perhaps she had cancer in the brain. I'm just not sure exactly what that is, but I get the sense that because of the timelines, and they don't usually give me that, so there's a reason I'm getting that, perhaps she was she had spent some time in the hospital battling whatever this was, thank you, and maybe it went into remission. And then it came back, and that's pertinent to the story because of who this message is for here. All right, just need to take a breath, y'all. Hang on a second. If you don't know, mediums have to swim in this energy, and sometimes that's not easy or pleasant. In this case, like I said, my head is throbbing for one thing, and my neck, down my throat, and my spine is aching. So if that's relative to this situation, that would make sense. Thank you. Now, I see that she had two, and I say two parents. Well, obviously we all have to have two parents to get here, but that's not what I mean. Two parents that were living in her life, because that doesn't always happen, helping her as she was battling this illness. Now, the story here is that the mother And I think this was after after this young woman passed. The mother had a breakdown, but it could have been before she passed. I'm not clear on that particular timeline. I kind of get the feeling that it might have been she was strong. Excuse me. She was strong in the initial phase of this, and maybe what happened was she thought it had gone into remission and they'd beat it, and then it came back. Like I said, I keep hearing 11, and of course 11 is my big number, but that's not what this is about. This is about her timeline. So I think at 11 years old is when they found out that it was back, and then the next phase, 11 to 13, is what I'm hearing, is when it got even more difficult, and the mother, and what I'm trying to understand, but I'm not getting it clear, is could have been during that time frame where the mother had a breakdown or started to kind of have a come apart mentally. And who wouldn't? Come on, this is your child. I have no judgment about that. I just don't know that I could have lived through this myself as a mother. So that's one half of the story about the mother. But the message today, she was clear that she's here to speak to the father. So the father, her father, is who this message is intended for. And of course, if the mother finds it, that's fine too. She's saying, first of all, she's okay. She's giving me a great big warm smile. There was something about this child's smile that everybody loved. The nurses, the doctors, everybody. She just had this infectious warmth about her and smile that everybody loved and appreciated about her. Even when she was feeling horrible, she managed to share her smile, and they all appreciated that. And I say they, I'm speaking about the medical staff in particular. So I'm waiting for 2 more cards to come out here. But the story is, somewhere along this timeline, the dad withdrew. I'll put it like that. I don't know if they just separated. I don't know if he just emotionally withdrew. I feel like it's bigger. I feel like it's physically also withdrew. Pardon me. I don't know if they divorced. I don't know if he just said, I can't deal with this anymore. I don't know what happened exactly, but she's giving me the feeling that there was a pivotal point where he just couldn't deal with it and withdrew. So which could have, I don't know which came first. He could have done that because the mother was difficult to live with because of the mental strain she was under, or did she become that way because he withdrew? That I'm not clear on. I don't know which one of those might have been happening. Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, well, I'll take, there's 3 that I'll take those. So, all right, let me get these cards out. Thank you. Be sure all those are on camera. Okay. Mostly, kind of, sort of. All right, now let me look at these cards, because I've been focusing on the energy and the messages coming through, and now let me look and see how this fits in. And for those of you who don't know, I don't always read the typical classic meanings of the tarot cards in the context of this kind of reading. They will give me other messages oftentimes. I'm actually reading energy, not cards here, and sometimes the cards are here just to show you a picture of what's going on. But let me see. Yeah, so I just sense that here, this is kind of backing up what I was saying. The husband, it was just too much for him. I think that's a good way to put it. It was just too much for him. He just had to pull back, and he withdrew his support. And I don't think that necessarily was financial, but it could have been. I mean, I'm seeing the Ace of Pentacles, but he pulled back. He pulled back. There was very little communication, if any, and yeah, it was just he was in survival mode. Let me put it like that. He was in survival mode. He simply couldn't deal with it, is what I'm going to say. But I want to share, I had a personal experience, a family member who, I don't want to give too much about my personal life here, but let's just say the situation was similar and he simply could not deal with it. And he actually told me that point blank, I can't deal with this. I do not have it in me to deal with this situation. And you know, it's interesting because as it happened, karma played into this later in life when he ended up having to care for his wife who became a paraplegic. So yeah, that was not a fun time for him or any of us, and certainly not his wife at the time who was going through that. But that's a whole other story. Anyway, karma's a thing, y'all. Just saying, if it's meant for you to do, it will find its way to you regardless. All right, enough about that. So I'm just trying to get this, to tune in here on this energy of this Empress here. What is she telling me here? What is she telling me? All right, thank you. That's the young woman, and I've not sure if I've ever been drawn on this card to this little river, but if you look, have to look kind of closely. There is a river, creek, whatever, flowing water, just kind of coming or going into nowhere, or coming from nowhere, coming down, and it's surrounding her, and these reeds are growing up. So I feel like this is representing the young woman who's crossed over, and she's saying, okay, thank you. One second, y'all. All right, okay, thank you. She's having me talk, giving me the message, and I've talked about this in one or two other videos, so I'll bring this up again. When we come into this world, before we physically come, our soul comes in to incarnate into a physical body, we choose our parents, we choose, you know, where we're going to live, we choose the soul people, connections that we're going to run into in our lifetimes that will be meaningful for us. And it's like you're up there, your soul's up there in the, wherever this is, in the other dimension, on the other side of the veil. There's like a convention of sort, a coming together of, I'm seeing like a big round table where everybody's sitting around and they're saying, okay, well, you need this lesson, so I'll come in and give you that thing. And then I'm going to need this lesson, so you can give me this lesson. And we all have this agreement, these contracts that we make with other souls before we come into our physical bodies. And then, you know, sometimes those contracts, well, all of us have contracts with our parents to some degree. Sometimes it's people, it's relationships, romantic or otherwise, that we meet. Sometimes it could be a boss, it could be any of those things. What I'm seeing here is this young woman's soul. She's saying she had a contract with you, the Father. Before she came in, she knew, she's showing herself as the soul, as this Empress. And the water here, the reason I brought that up, that is the flow of emotions. That is, I also see that is spirituality, the flow of souls, if you will. She knew when she came in here what she was signing on for. She knew she would not have a long lifetime. She knew that, you know, she picked you, as it were, as a parent, to give you this particular set of circumstances, this challenge, this spiritual lesson to overcome. She knew that when she came in here. It was her conscious choice to do that out of love. And remember, this is a soul level love, much bigger than we can even wrap our heads around here in terms of a 3D love. She knew that this would change your life. She knew that it would change it's like a pivot point again. It would change the trajectory of your soul. Not life, yes, life, but bigger than that. It was meant to give you some major soul lesson that your soul needed, or growth that your soul needed. So she's saying that it turned your world upside down clearly. And in the moment, you could not deal with it. In the moment, she's acknowledging that in the moment, she knows that you couldn't handle it. You could not transform as Spirit wanted you to by committing to the end, so to speak, to what she was going through. You couldn't do it. And that brought this upheaval in your life. And you had to, you couldn't handle it. You couldn't deal with it. So you essentially ran away. You took your cup of love, you took your action to leave the situation. And in doing so, and I'm looking at this, the Ten of Pentacles, it basically turned everything upside down. There was no more happy anything. And again, right behind that, the Spirit's backing me up. Thank you. The Four of Wands usually means happy home, happy life, everything, family, and it's in the reverse, and is the World in reverse. So what I'm getting from this card, the World is the last card in the tarot. It is the end of the Fool's journey. In this case, she's saying, but this is not the end. It's in reverse. This is not the end. There will be, while there's no balance now, there will be balance in the future. You cannot run away from karma. You cannot run away from these soul contracts. You can look the other way, but sooner or later it's going to find you, and you're going to have to deal with these swords in your back. So it's, and all of that's in your head. You have a choice about how you think about things. You have a choice about how you face things. And my spiritual teacher always said, it's not what comes to us that matters. It's how we deal with what comes to us that matters. It's, we all have challenges, but this came to you, it was a manifestation of a spiritual lesson that you needed to learn, and you chose not to at that time. That's free will, folks. We all have it. Free will is a thing. Spirit can put us there all day long, but we might choose to walk away from it. And she's saying, she's not judging you for that. In fact, quite the opposite. What she's saying is, but because of how all this works, yes, you didn't kind of step up to the plate in this instance, but guess what? It will come around again. She's being very clear. It will come around again. And she's actually showing me she is going to come into your life again, specifically to heal whatever this was that you guys needed to heal with each other. Whatever spiritual lesson. And I'm hearing, Paul, okay, yeah, well, same message. Spirit's just reiterating now. That there was no... judgment can be a lot of things, but it can be a rebirth, it can be a reawakening, it can be reconciliation, and that was not the case. You did not wake up to your soul's purpose in this particular moment in time with her, but you're going to, and there's going to be an opportunity coming where you're going to have to do this again somehow, some way. Spirit's going to make that happen, and she's saying, I will see you again. I will see you again. And don't misunderstand my message here. She's not being vindictive or meaning to say, I'm going to take some revenge against you. That is not the message at all. Far from it. The message is, we made a soul contract. I agreed out of love to come in and give you the opportunity to work through this. And okay, you didn't take it this time, but that's all right. I forgive you. In fact, there's no forgiveness needed here. But because I want you to know I'll come back. I will see you again. We'll work this out another time. She's forgiving you is essentially the big message, the big takeaway message I want you to get from this. She has forgiven you, and in fact saying there was no forgiveness. We all have free will. There was no forgiveness needed. Excuse me, that's what I meant to say. There's no forgiveness needed. That she will see you again, to look for her. Now, she's not giving me clarity on if she's going to see you in this lifetime or just in general in the future. We do tend to incarnate with the same soul group time and time again. But I kind of get the feeling that it might be this lifetime. I kind of get that feeling. So there it is, folks. There is the message for today, and she's waving and saying goodbye, pulling her energy back. Oh, by the way, she was with a grandmother on the other side. So you or the mother would have had a passed over grandmother, in this case her grandmother, on the other side. So that may help you make this message fit. Okay, folks, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this kind of content, please subscribe. And I will see you again soon. Thank you so much. Everybody take care. Many blessings. Bye-bye.